Welcome to Better Together, the podcast where we go behind the scenes on what truly goes on at xrecruiter. I'm Emmeline, and in this series, I'll be sitting down with the people that make everything happen, from leadership to the people behind the scenes helping our partners succeed every day. We'll talk about how we help recruiters build their own business, what really goes on in supporting our partners, and the stories behind the people doing the work. Today, I'm so excited to welcome a very special guest, Glovertron.
This guy.
The Ed Glover.
Good to be here. I've been very nervous about this podcast.
Have you really?
Yeah, I couldn't sleep last night.
Wow, I can see it on your face.
Yeah, I'm
You're
tired.
full of it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming. I guess goal for today is to really hear from your perspective about what makes a recruiter successful, but more so how the xrecruiter community really contributes to the success of our partners. But I'm really keen to hear from you first about your background, what brought you to xrecruiter.
It's a very long background, so I'm going to try and get this pretty concise for you. But
the highlights.
The highlights. Came out of university, did a medical sales job for a little bit, not that long, it's not even on my LinkedIn. So I kind of went straight into recruitment as I see it in year one. Worked there for a couple of years, did really well, and launched my own agency after 2 years. And for me, I was very naive. And when I was speaking to Blake coming into xrecruiter, I said, had xrecruiter existed when I was starting my own agency, 1,000% I'd have used it, because I think I spent the first year and a half messing things up, getting things wrong, just spinning my wheels in areas that I shouldn't have. And I do talk about this. I'd spend an hour to an hour and a half a day chasing invoices. That becomes a day a week. That becomes a week a month. And suddenly 25% of my billings dropped because I just wasn't recruiting. So xrecruiter, had it existed then, would have 100% used it. It didn't. So 4 or 5 years in my agency, grew that to a decent size. I was in 50-50 with a business partner, sold that, came to Australia, had a bad breakup, decided I'm getting out of England. That was kind of the reason. But I joined Michael Page, and I actually remember joining Michael Page and saying, just give me the lowest level role you've got, start me at the bottom. I don't want to do any kind of leadership role or anything like that. And they made me a senior consultant, and then cream rises to the top, of course, and I got promoted. That's the truth. But no, I got promoted at Michael Page and did some kind of cool things, went around the world before leaving recruitment altogether in 2016, 2017, joining LinkedIn, running sales business for that company. It was an amazing experience. LinkedIn's a cool brand. Everybody was buying LinkedIn at the time. It was kind of selling itself in many ways. Before leaving that and going into technology, high-level consulting, doing huge deals, doing $10, $20 million deals with huge companies around the world. And then I decided to leave that because, quite honestly, I was bored and it was a kind of a soulless industry, and I joined xrecruiter because I actually looked back and thought, when did I have the most fun in my career? And it was in recruitment. And I didn't want to do recruitment anymore because I'd kind of got past that, but I also wanted to be connected to that ecosystem. So xrecruiter seemed to be the perfect blend of running a sales business, being involved in that, being involved in recruitment without actually picking up calls and talking to candidates, picking up phone and talking to candidates. So that's why I joined.
Well, you're clearly an asset and everyone knows it. You have a lot of wisdom to share. And I think that's been really apparent from day one. But tell the people that don't really know you and your background, what are you actually doing at xrecruiter? How do you help our partners through that kind of journey themselves?
If you're a recruiter, a high-performing recruiter out in the industry, and you're going through the same mindset that I went through, which is there's more to this than what I'm doing. I'm billing $500,000 a year. I'm earning 120K. Where's that other 380K going? That was kind of my mentality. And there's a world where you can take home more. So when people are in that kind of mindset, firstly, they start talking to you. You're the one getting on the front foot and speaking to these people when they reach out and they know. But when they're kind of in that journey of, okay, it's getting more serious, I need to understand what it looks like, I need to understand what support looks like, and I just bring it to life for them as to what it is to be a partner. So it's almost like a multi-stage process before they sign up with xrecruiter that both you and I go on with them, where we start the initial conversations through to, you can do this, we're going to do it. And that's really where my part comes in. It's kind of an influential type role, but also problem solving when they have questions or concerns. And also it's a scary thing. People are nervous about going out on their own. And my job is to help them calm those nerves and make them believe in themselves and realize they can do it, because they can do it.
And like you always say, speaking to someone who's actually been in those shoes and done it for themselves, it's a different conversation to having not done it yourself, having not had that background and credibility as well. So that's really important. So you've worked closely with a lot of recruitment founders. You've been in the world for years and years. From your perspective, there's kind of two paths that recruiters typically go down when they get to this point, which is one, going down the route completely alone, like you said at the start, or two, it's going with a partner, typically a coach, a mentor, or someone like xrecruiter, which fully partners with them. Yeah. From your perspective, what's kind of the difference that you see in terms of the outcomes of going completely alone or going with a partner like xrecruiter?
What I would say is, even when I came to xrecruiter, I'd done a lot, right, in recruitment, and I thought, hey, I'm probably not going to learn much from in recruitment compared to what I already know. And it opened my eyes as to how many other brilliant recruiters and coaches and advisory like Matt Cossins exist out there. So to your question is, going totally on your own, your growth kind of stops as to how good you are going into that. So if you're going to naturally get better over time, etc., and be deeper in your market, but you don't have a separate lens on you from somebody else giving you some guidance. So if you join xrecruiter and you're a $1 million biller, in a few years you could be a $1.52 million biller. Whereas if you go on your own, you're $1 million biller, you might stay there, you might improve marginally. So I say that the biggest difference is having this support and advisory from a coaching perspective. We know some of our partners are incredible performers, and I won't name names, but some of them are, $2 million+ billers, and they still get a lot of value from the coaching and the guidance that xrecruiter provides. So I'd say the biggest difference I see, outside of the back office support and all the really amazing stuff we do, it's really how do we take you further forward and become a better business owner, become a better recruiter, become a better leader than what you would be doing it completely on your own.
And if you were to break down kind of what that value is from, I guess, that coaching part, from going to 1 to 1.5, what are kind of the key aspects of that you would draw out in terms of the value they're getting?
So I always used to think about this. How do I go? Because I'm fundamentally quite a lazy person, and I want to do things more efficiently all the time. So going from 1 million to 1.5, you can just work 50% harder, right? Do the same thing and work 50% harder, and that's a way of doing it. It's not a very sustainable way of doing it. You're going to get very tired very quickly doing that. Or you can just find better ways to do it. So I would personally say that what xrecruiter can do, or the people within xrecruiter, myself, Matt Cossins, Blake, you, all the people who've done these things, is actually refining their processes, refining their capability. And it's actually people who are good at recruitment, they know all the processes, but is there a slightly better way to pitch a retainer? Or is there a slightly better way to control a candidate with a counteroffer? Whatever these things are, there's always a better way. And I've learned that coming in from some of our partners who I look at and go, wow, actually, had I known that when I was recruiting, I think I could have done even more.
We talk a lot about community at xrecruiter and the part that plays. And I think I've seen firsthand how having such a large community of people who are walking the same walk, doing the same thing at the same time, but also people who have done it in the past, plays into that success. What role do you think being part of this kind of community plays in the success of our partners?
It's a really interesting one, right? Because I came from a world of other recruiters are my enemy, right? I'm not going to engage them. I'm not going to let them know what I do or how I do it. And that's just an old school way of doing it. The community now, there's a big part of people who are on the same journey as you. Because when you start your own agency, the only measurement you have of how good you're doing is what you used to be, right? How good was I, the last few quarters? And I'm not doing that right now, so I'm doing it wrong. And you don't have any way of sense checking yourself. But having people around you who are on this same journey, there's a good pulse check you can do about how you're developing. And so I think the community helps in that way. But also I've seen the community do things like, if I'm a marketing recruitment business and I'm going out to pitch to, RACQ, we've got insurance recruitment companies who can go along. And so it's like being in a big agency where you take out the sales recruiter and the finance recruiter with you to a pitch. But now you can actually take out like true industry experts. So I'm seeing the community help each other to win business. And that's probably something that I wasn't expecting. There's heaps of value to it from the learning perspective, but I think the community helping each other a lot more is something that I think was eye-opening for me.
You've seen, obviously, in the past, every recruiter was a competitor, right? And I mean, when I got into recruitment typically you wouldn't speak to your competitors like they were the enemy. So you've seen that develop, you've seen this community now. What do you think that'll kind of look like 5 to 10 years down the track when recruitment continues to grow?
You mean xrecruiter community grows or just recruitment in general?
I think recruitment in general.
I think the generations that are coming through are a lot more open to each other's success, probably versus when I was kind of younger in doing it. So when I recruited in the US, there was a lot more of, you can do it, bro. You know, even if people go bankrupt, it's okay, go again. There's a bit of a mentality of helping each other get through. The UK was, oh, you went bankrupt, you failed. I just feel like there's a more of a world coming through where people are just keep pushing each other. You can achieve amazing things and we'll help you do it. I just think the people coming through generationally are thinking different, not just recruitment, where they're prepared to help each other a bit more. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's how I see it, yeah.
Do you think that's changing the recruitment world entirely in Australia?
Potentially. I mean, I haven't been involved in big agencies for a while. I don't know how they still see it. But I think potentially. I think there is so much opportunity still in recruitment, and we have a duty of care, which is why xrecruiter exists, which is why lots of companies that are not recruitment companies that support the industry exist, is to level up how recruitment is seen and how recruitment does business, because it's not a dirty word. It's there to help, and we are there to help the industry. So I think something that a perception sometimes of xrecruiter is that they're not necessarily supporting the industry because we're helping people go out on their own. But the reality is these people are already going out on their own. We're just helping them do it more successfully. And so we are here to help the industry. And that's the reason I joined, is because I want to change the game. I want there to be people who are the highest performers, have the potential to do something on their own, whereas they might not be able to without our support. And that's important to me.
So if we can kind of focus in on the individual performance a little bit more, from your perspective, I mean, you see a lot of high performing recruiters. What are the kind of behaviors and traits that you see of partners who come in the early stages that then go on to become really successful in their own right?
This is really cliche, but there's kind of two areas. One is your mindset and one is your recruitment capability. In fact, I learned when I was in recruitment, my old managing director in the US, a guy called Richard Vickers, he'd been around a long time. He said there's 3 pillars to making you a brilliant recruiter. He goes, one is your capability, one is your mindset and your natural talent, and the other is your industry knowledge and how deep you go into your niche. He said, as a manager or a director, your job is to improve the capability of your people. How deep they go into their niche is their job to learn it, and their mindset is their job. So you can only improve their capability, you can shift a little bit of their mindset, but that's the 3 things you need to work on. So for me, what makes people perform the quickest is the mindset shift, because when you realize that you don't know everything, you're not as good as you think you are, it's humbling, but it also means you open yourself up to growth. And so the partners who come in who are, I'm $1 million biller already, I don't need anything. The ones who come in and I'll say it, Stephen Fulop, right, incredible biller, came in and said, I can still do more, I can still learn more, I can still learn from these people. It's just their performance is still leveling up. And so I would say the significant difference between average performers and great performers are those that realize they can still get better.
I guess for some of those people, you kind of see them attach themselves to this background, right, and to this number. They're $1 million biller, they're doing great. How would you kind of go through the steps of breaking down that mindset to allow someone to come on board and actually help you?
As in breaking down the concept that, as good as you are, you can always be better. It's a difficult one because I've been on that side as well. And sometimes you just need to see other people being a bit better than you. And then that's I did well in my recruitment career, but there were always people better than me. And so you probably have to just accept that, there's going to be someone faster, there's going to be someone tougher, there's going to be somebody a bit better. And when you do that, it changes your entire perspective on things. So it's hard for me to change someone's mind. I always learned in recruitment, you can't change someone's mind. You can just create an environment where their mind is open to being changed. And so if you think about Inception, the movie, have you ever seen that with Leonardo? They put a thought in someone's head and then the person convinces themselves that they need to change. So you need to put enough thoughts in people's head that they open their mind to changing. And that's really how those people change. So we just need to drop the seeds in, help them see other ways of doing it, and they'll eventually realize. So that's how I would look at it.
I guess the other part to that is the control piece, right? People run their desk 360. They have full control over their relationships. And naturally that translates to wanting to have control over the business. But that comes with a cost, right? You're spending your time on administration, finance, payroll, all that back end stuff that shouldn't really matter to a recruiter. But it becomes, it becomes important when you own the business and you're wearing all the hats. For someone to kind of take away that control piece, what would you say to them around that if they were thinking about that switch?
Yeah, I always think, and when I talk to people who are going on this journey about potentially starting their own business, I talk about xrecruiter being an on-ramp to really strong business ownership. Let's be honest, we'd love every single partner of ours to stay partners forever and a day, but they might not. But if we're working together with somebody for 3, 4, 5, 6 years, use that time to accelerate your business capability, your ability to understand the numbers, to market your company. So how you start working with us is a recruiter. How you leave working with us is a business owner, a better recruiter. You're more capable in different areas. And just learn over the course of years. So if you're weak financially, and I was really bad when I started my own agency, I couldn't really read a P&L particularly well. I just knew the fundamentals, but that was it. But by the time I left, I knew. But xrecruiter will help you get there quicker. So I'd just say use us for what we are, which is almost like a business incubation, acceleration, support. It is to get you somewhere faster.
And take away, that ego or that attachment to needing to control everything. Give the...
Yeah, I don't know lots of recruiters who really want to do all the admin and financial stuff. Some might. I never did. I would have paid back in the day just for someone to do my finances, because it was just not my sweet spot. And if I had 4 hours extra in a day, I can make way more money in that 4 hours than learning how to do certain things with my accountant. So control is one thing, but you get the control in the sense you get all the reporting, you get to learn about these things. I talk to potential recruiters about xrecruiter being like a gym membership, right? You have all these different machines. You've got a finance machine, a marketing machine, a recruitment advisory machine. You decide which machines you're going to use when you go to the gym. If you want to get better at finance, work on your finance machine. But if you don't, work on your recruitment machine. There's all these things available to you, but together we've got to work out what you need to work on, so that at the end of 3 or 5 years, whatever it is, if you decide to go on your own, you want to hire an accountant, hire a marketing person, do this stuff yourself, you're equipped to do it. And it's not just like wow, okay, I'm not ready to break away. We want you to be ready. We want to have a success story out of you, basically.
So I'm a recruiter. I'm looking to start my own agency, whether I go out on my own or whether I partner with xrecruiter. What would be your biggest piece of advice to this kind of day and time as to how you would do it?
You should never make a decision without looking at all your options properly. I think if you want to go out on your own, if it's in there, if it's inception, if it's in your brain, it's going to happen at some point, right? If it's even a thought, it's going to happen at some point in your career. But before you do that, look into everything about doing it yourself. Look at what it's going to cost to get, all your terms of business set up, all the rest of it, get a business coach. Look at all those things. Look at what it looks like doing it with the support from an xrecruiter. Look at what it looks like if you don't have any support and you just talk to one of your mates about recruitment every month. Look at your options and don't make a decision without covering all your options. So I'd say, we would love everyone to come and partner with us, but our model is not going to suit every single person. But don't make a decision without giving yourself the information to make a decision. I say talk to us. There's no harm in having a conversation with you or a conversation with me to see what it might look like. That's what I would say. Just at least engage in a conversation.
So, Ed, we talk a lot about better together at xrecruiter, and I think that's kind of one of the key things that really drives us. What does that actually mean to you? Really
good. Well, better together. Firstly, I think it was born out of community, that we're all on this journey together. We're going to learn together. We're going to fail together. We're going to do this together. So there's this personal people aspect about it. But the other side is from purely commercial aspect. We learn from all the partners, we learn from all the industry, and then we share this in the group. So actually having more people out in the market, as in like recruitment companies who we're learning from, we have an incredible amount of reference points as to what's working in legal, what's working in finance, that goes way beyond what just a big company might have. So the better together is an information piece. We're going to learn more by being together and being out there and feeding back, but also the feel of starting an agency is really lonely. And I started with actually a friend of mine, so there's two of us, it was still incredibly lonely because I had a lot of friends who were at the old recruitment company that I'd been in who were really not going to talk to me that much anymore. So there's a lot of factors that play into going on your own. And actually having people around us to bounce things off is huge. So this community, we just got back from 2 days in Noosa where we had a load of the partners land there. It's energizing that people are on the same journey. They might even just be 3 months ahead of you on the journey, but that better together piece is multifaceted. But I'd see it as a commercial capability piece, but also just a personal aspect of having people around you.
Damn, what an answer. That was great. Well, thanks, Ed. I really appreciate your insights. Obviously, you're such an asset to xrecruiter, like I said.
You.
Thanks for coming on.
It's been a pleasure. It's been great to chat to you, even though I chat to you every single day next to me. But it's been good. Thank you.
Love it.